I told you I'll be back with more. I got to talk to more candidates that's running for office in the state of Florida. This is JD Juggs for the Book of Clarity, and today we have Miss Karla Kemp with us. So, Karla, who are you, and why are you running for Florida State Senate in District 18?
Who am I? I get asked that question a lot, and the stories are big. I've been around, I've done a lot. I like to say I'm a Jill of all trades. So whatever you want to talk about, bring it on up. Because let me tell you, I've probably been there, done that. You've already had a little bit of a taste of that.
I have.
I am a licensed insurance agent, and I'm also a sustainability consultant. So environment is my passion, taking care of the environment. But, a big part of that is actually the social justice side as well. So I am the big believer in business is successful when the people are successful and when we take care of the planet. So in sustainability, there's just 3 pillars. And I would tell you that I'm a big believer in if you take care of the 2, the 3rd comes around on its own. So that's my big focus, which is why I feel like it's so appropriate for the events that we have going on these days. Our economy is shot. Our climate change issues, our disaster recovery, etc. Let me tell you about the insurance world, which subject do you want to start with? I spent 8 years in the medical field. I can tell you about that side too. I'm licensed in life and health as well as property and casualty. And I'm one of the people who actually communicated with the state to tell them what the insurance companies are doing. I am one of the people who you would call a whistleblower, even though it was public knowledge. You just had to know what was happening to be able to identify it. So I went to them and said, hey, this is how you can make a change. But they didn't want to make the change. So between that and the fact that I've studied fascism for over 30 years, started that when I was 8. I started studying German, got into German history, etc. Went from there. I've even studied Russian, by the way, and Russian history. So big bells and whistles and flags with everything that's happening. I just decided that rather than just talking the talk, that I would walk the walk.
Now, the Florida State Senate is currently is 27 Republicans and it's 12 Democrats. So right now, it's very well known in the political space. Republicans have the trifecta with the governor's mansion, the Senate, the House, and then they have the triplex with the Attorney General's office, the CFO, and Department of Financial Services. So what, in your mind, what are the ways that you're going to still affect positive change?
Well, number one, let's start with why we've been ruled by the GOP for 27 years. And let's call it what it is. It's not redistricting, it's gerrymandering. But between the gerrymandering and between the fascism, the people are really done. They're done watching our taxpayer dollars wasted on things like alligator Alcatraz, rather than taking care of people recovering from 2 back-to-back hurricanes. At no point should it take 2 and 3 years for people's lives to reset. And our emergency fund, by the way, is gone because of that. And we never got reimbursed. And we never will.
Yeah, I heard the feds were supposed to reimburse the state of Florida, but they said no.
They flat out said no, absolutely. So that he promised our money without knowing it was going to be there is what it is. And then had the faith, and then it never came through. Now, I actually grew up in blood red South Dakota.
That's quite an experience, I must imagine.
I have lived with Republicans my entire life. I've worked with rural sustainability. I've worked with farmers. I have been in male-dominated industries my entire life. Number one, conservatives want the same things that we do. They usually are just using a different language. So once you get down and you sit down and you talk to people, when you're able to communicate in that way, where there's not a judgment, this is not a judgment between you and I. I keep saying we need to come together as a community. For example, after the hurricanes, we didn't care if you were red or blue. We didn't care who you wanted to vote for president. It was like, hey, you're my neighbor. What do you need help with? Let me help you. Or, hey, can I borrow you for a second? We're all community. We need to get that focus back. We need to not be about this division stuff. this rhetoric stuff. I will tell you, number one, though, at no point does there belong to be any kind of violence. I had to go on the record with Tamika Lyles the other day because she actually had a threat. And I made a point to WFLA. Here's the deal. We need to come together as a community. It's you and I that need to come together as a team. Our neighbors, our friends, our families. We need to talk to each other, and we need to support each other and call other people out when they start doing that. Because we need to come back to the level of decorum and respect with each other. Because, let's go back to that old adage, you get what you give. Now, coming together, these people are going into office and they've run for office with the intent on helping their communities. It's the same thing I'm doing as a Democrat. There's ways to get it done. And, sometimes people just don't know about those other ways. As someone who's lived in 9 different states and who's worked in so many different industries, and as a state that has so many transplants from other places, I am much more versed in communication skills and styles and what other people want and how to find out what they want and how to relate that to the goal that I'm trying to achieve. And when you can come together and discuss those things and reach points of agreement, that's how you make things happen. Because honest to God, the people who are coming in, it's not about power. They want to make a change. They want to make people's lives better in their communities. And really, when you come down to the nitty gritty and you're able to talk
right,
to
like you want to do universal health care. You want free education, undergraduate and under. That's,
public education.
That's almost the exact opposite almost of the system that we have now in terms of like state, public schools for K through 12. I'm sure people are aware of how expensive college is. I graduated from USF, so I still have my student loans. It's a significant amount. So I'm just wondering, do you think that your colleagues will be, open to these ideas once, you do get in office?
There's 2 ways to look at that. Number one, we're going to play the political game on this one, this whole conjecture here. They have to worry about getting back in office too. And they have to get people's votes to get there. So if they don't start talking about and thinking about the people who are voting them in, do they think they're going to come back into office? That's always on a politician's mind if they go into it about power. If they go into it about making good changes and improving our world and working for the people, which is a grassroots idea, then they're more likely to buy it. Number one, we have such a huge healthcare system here. And I would like to remind you, and a lot of people haven't thought about it this way, but so many people have come here to retire. So many people have bought all these properties. Old hotels, because it was all about tourism, have been converted into condos for these older people. So has the medical industry. Well, that generation is now at the point hitting their peak. And not so long in the future, we're going to start to have a whole lot more housing and available medical personnel, nurses and doctors. We have a significant advanced medical system here. Unfortunately, their focus is money. How much money can they make from the insurance companies? However, Florida is also one of the heaviest drawers on the ACA for their insurance policies. The existing party voted down Medicaid for all. If you were a single person, you pretty much can't qualify for it unless you were a single parent. If you own a home, forget it. There's no way you're qualifying for it, whether you're working or not. There's hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Florida right now just lost their ACA coverage because they couldn't afford the price increase of like $400 to $600 a month, if not more.
Subsidies.
So we have this giant opening where we've got, I would tell you, probably 2/3 of our state doesn't want to go to the doctor because they don't know how they're going to pay the bill. And they can't take time off of work because they're too busy trying to work 1 or 2 jobs just to be able to pay the rent or to pay the mortgage.
On your website, you do have, sort of the moniker up there that says, I don't want your money, I want your vote. Right. But now that we're in this space, how are you able to reach, the amount of people that you need to get you into office to put in these plans that you've come up with?
I'm going to tell you that's a really good question. Let me tell you where I'm coming from, because, well, number one, as I said before to you, big believer in getting rid of Citizens United. I have colleagues in the previous race that I was in telling me how they took PAC money and then they were told all of a sudden they had to spend 20 hours a week once they were in office talking to their PAC people. That's half a work week, by the way. And that was a minimum. I'm sorry, but if you're taking money from PACs, who are you really working for? I mean, you and I already kind of know, hey, it's the rich people. But it's our taxpayer dollars that are paying for them to be there, and they need to be working for us. The Constitution says by the people and for the people.
So there's definitely, obviously, there are, just for people that are listening, there are some PACs definitely that are doing good. But I think probably the vast majority of the ones that make the news cycles are probably not for good faith or positive reasons.
Oh, I think there's a lot more out there that don't make the news cycle purposely. But
the dark money, the hidden shadow money.
I'm a big believer in keeping our government by the people and for the people, because I think our taxpayer dollars need to take care of the taxpayers, not the petroleum companies who've had billions of trillions lately in profits for the past 50 years, by the way. Why are we still subsidizing them? Well, their CEOs have how many houses and how many boats and et cetera, and we shouldn't be. Subsidies are supposed to go to up and coming new industries that are going to help the public. For example, renewable energy. That's where the money needs to be going, not petroleum, who's 100 years old and the biggest industry in the world. So, but ultimately, I am not taking money from PACs because I don't want to be beholden to them. I want to do the work for my community, for my neighbors. And honestly, the best way to get rid of Citizens United, we can all hope and pray Congress comes around, or hope and pray we have the blue wave, or we can just say no. The number one way to fight fascism, by the way, is to say no, to stand up and say no to the bully. It's the same with this. You and I, the whole community, we're all trying to keep our heads above water right now, because our economy is so upside down here. But if we just say no, and we get our friends and our neighbors, we talk to our friends and neighbors to go out and vote. We talk to strangers. Guess what? How you make friends? You make friends by saying hi. Go get to know your neighbor. Talk to your family. Get them to come out and vote. Because if we get enough people to vote, then we win.
Before we run out of time, I want to ask you one last question. Of course, this is very important for me. Florida's obviously in the deep South, and acts of racial harm occur every day. Sometimes it's talked about, sometimes it's not. There's reportedly a lynching here in St. Petersburg last week behind a Dollar General. But the question I wanted to ask you is, in framing that, is do you have a plan in terms of social justice reform as it involves with the police, either on the local level or on the state level?
Well, I want to tell you, I actually have been very actively trying to get the African-American community, people of color in general, more involved in politics, because it's been something that I've not seen here. And I've been like, oh, no, you need to be actively involved, whether it be people of color, LGBTQIA, etc. Those are experiences that each and every individual has, and I can say I'm aware of, but I don't know on a personal level. So I want these people on my team. I want them helping me make policy and advising me of things. I hadn't even heard about this lynching until you mentioned it, which mortifies me because I'm all over the news.
Yo, thank you everybody for checking out Book of Clarity, a special session interview with Florida State Senate candidate Karla Kemp out in District 18 that specifically affects Pinellas County. I told y'all before, it's all about the local politics here. I appreciate y'all joining us. Stay tuned for bonus content where Karla answers a question about the flock cameras that are popping up in the thousands all over the Pinellas County area. It's JD Juggs of the Book of Clarity. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.